Hello everyone, this is Mr. Vanderpool again. We're going to keep talking about balance of payments here. So next we're going to talk about the relationship between the current and the capital account. So remember when we talked about double entry bookkeeping? The current account and the capital account should zero each other out. That is, if the current account has a negative balance or a deficit, then the capital account should have a positive balance or a surplus. So, for example, the constant net inflow of foreign capital to the United States, this is a capital account surplus, is what enables us to import more than we export. And this, of course, would be a current account deficit. Basically, what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen, is exports provide us with that foreign money to buy imports. All right, now let's talk about official reserves. So we're talking about official reserves. We're talking about the foreign currency holdings of the United States Federal Reserve System. Okay, we're talking about that last account. We've talked about capital financial account. We've talked about current account. Now we're talking about that last account here, official reserves. All right, so these are the holdings of the U.S. Federal Reserve System. So when there is a balance of payment surplus, that means the Fed is going to accumulate a whole bunch of currency. This basically means they have too much, they've accumulated too much foreign currency. And that means they're going to sell it, or there's going to be an outflow of that foreign currency. That outflow is a debit. So they're going to debit the balance of payments. Specifically, in that case, you're going to have a debit to official reserves. When there's a balance of payments deficit, that means the Federal Reserve does not have enough foreign currency. The Fed has depleted its reserves of foreign currency. And so therefore it's going to need foreign currency, so that it's going to have to create an inflow of foreign currency. So it's going to buy that foreign currency, and that is going to be a credit to the balance of payments. And the official reserves zero out the balance of payments. So remember that your current account plus your capital account plus your official reserves all should add up to be equal to 0. Now let's talk about active versus passive use of official reserves. So the United States is passive in its use of official reserves. If it accumulates foreign currency, it's not going to seek to manipulate the dollar exchange ratio with the currencies of other nations. China, on the other hand, has a different philosophy. They're active in the use of their official reserves. So they actively buy and sell dollars in order to maintain a steady exchange rate with the United States. Generally, what will happen is the People's Republic of China will accumulate a lot of foreign currency. They'll accumulate a lot of dollars. What they will do is they will buy, for example, U.S. Treasury bonds or other financial assets that are priced in dollars, and by doing that, they actually make the dollar stronger than the Chinese currency, the yuan. And so by doing this, by making the dollar stronger than the yuan, they are encouraging exports to the United States, because if the dollar is stronger than the yuan, that makes those Chinese goods cheaper than American goods, and so Americans buy those Chinese goods, and this helps the net exports of the People's Republic of China. This is a big political issue that you'll see politicians talking about, this manipulation of the yuan-dollar exchange rate in order to encourage net exports. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the problems that you guys are going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys some examples here. So we're going to go ahead and classify. We're going to look at some scenarios here. We're going to classify each as either a credit or a debit to the U.S. current account, the capital financial account, or the official reserves account. So the first one we're going to look at here is Paris Hilton buys a majority share in the Korean electronics manufacturer Samsung. So the first thing we do is we figure out, is this capital financial, current, or official reserves? You can see it's talking about buying shares here, so this is definitely going to be under the capital financial account. Now we need to figure out, is it a debit or is it a credit? So it looks like Paris Hilton is purchasing shares in a foreign company, so you're going to have an outflow of financial assets here. So because of that, it is going to be a debit. It's going to be a debit to the capital financial account. Queen Elizabeth II imports a Dodge Viper to the UK. Now remember, we're looking here from the view of the United States. So if Queen Elizabeth II is importing something, then the United States is exporting something. And so we're talking imports, exports here. So as far as which account it is, it's definitely going to be current account. Now, if the United States is exporting something, that means that they are giving up the good and they are bringing in the money. And so because of that, it is going to be an inflow of money, and it is going to be a credit. So this is going to be a credit to the current account. This next one is a little tricky. So the Bank of America purchases $200 million worth of euros. So this is a cash-for-cash transaction. That's going to fall under the current account. Now remember, when you have a cash-for-cash transaction, when you're bringing in foreign money, that is going to create the credit here. So Bank of America, they're purchasing $200 million worth of euros, so they're giving up dollars and they're purchasing euros. That's bringing in foreign money. So because of that, is going to be a credit. So this is going to be a credit to the current account. All right, Homer Simpson buys a new Ferrari, the Enzo. That is going to be an import. So an import, you're bringing in the good, you're losing the money. So if we're at an import, we're definitely talking current account. And we are bringing in the import and we're losing money, so it's going to be an outflow of cash. So that's going to be a debit. So this is going to be a debit to the current account. All right, so the next one here, the Malaysian government purchases a new Boeing 787. So that is an export for the United States. If we're talking imports, exports, we're definitely in the current account. Now, they're giving up the 787 to bring in the cash. That inflow of cash is going to be a credit. So this is going to be a credit to the current account. And so then the last one here is the United States Federal Reserve System sells $4 billion worth of U.S. currency in the foreign exchange market. So we're talking about the Fed, so we're definitely talking about the official reserves account. They're selling currency to bring in foreign currency. And so if they're bringing in that foreign currency, it is going to be a credit. So that is going to be a credit to the official reserves account. All right, let's look at the assessment. We're going to describe the factors that affect the current account. So go ahead and look at that slide regarding the current account. What are some of those factors that will affect the current account? And then number 2, we're going to describe and graph what causes capital financial flows. And there's also a particular slide that addresses this topic. All right. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Otherwise, in the summary, go ahead and describe what we've learned today. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.